Weymouth Wales men and women are not invincible after all. Arsenal leave the door wide open for City in the English Premier League, and defending champions Real Madrid one step closer to reaching the Champions League final once again. This is Matchday Live from the 246. I'm your host, Damien Best. To help us discuss and preview all the action, of course, we've got an expert panel. The legend Eyre Sealy is with us once again. 40 caps for Barbados, former head coach of the Barbados national team and represented Pride of Gall Hill for most of his playing career. Trevor Thorne is also in the house with us. We're going to get to him in just a moment or two. Former Barbados striker, now football administrator and commentator. Good evening to you, Eyre, as well. And we've got Renaldo Gilkes, technical director of Kickstart Rush Football Club and former national player, youth national team captain, of course. These guys are going to discuss all the activities. We'll be right back after the break. And when we come back, Wales teams holding firm in the Premier League, but not so good in the knockout. Welcome back here to Matchday Live from the 246, of course, your monthly edition of the football action, all that transpired during the month of April. Weymouth Wales men recorded their 8th straight victory in the BFA Premier League, recently thrashing Silver Sands 6-2 to move to 24 points, according to the latest standings provided by the BFA. Trevor Thorne, he is with us. Silver Sands with one win for the season. We're no match for the might of Wales. When they get back to him in just a moment. Maybe Renaldo can tackle us first up. Renaldo, Wales seem to be unbeatable. Of course, Silver Sands, bottom of the standings. They felt the wrath of a mighty Wales squad.
Damien, good evening to everyone that's watching. Weymouth Wales this season has proven to be the team to be. We call them the lean green machine from Carrion Village, and when you look at their roster, it's made up of a number of experienced and quality players. I mean, from in goal straight up to the forward, you have Kishmar Primus, who has been number one for the national team for a number of years. You have Mario Badagarian at the back with King Hill, who both play in the national team, and all the way through. I mean, you have the likes of a person like Romario Pete Herwood, who isn't in the national team, but is by any means probably one of the, if not the top number 10 creative midfield in the island, one of them for sure. So when you look at what they have recorded, what they've done thus far, with 9 consecutive wins, in each of their matches they've dismissed the opponents. Really, I haven't really seen anyone trouble them. I think there was just one instance where it was 0-0 at halftime against Empire, but then more signs in the second half, teams ran out his team, and Wales just continue to grow in confidence. So it'll be difficult, but I know that they're going after the unbeaten record, but it's hard to say that they would not win the Premier League.
Yeah, they look so sharp. I mean, they've got so much attacking prowess up front. And Ronaldo, we've got to take a look at as well as Britain's Hill, who've been keeping their place in that second position, 6 victories under their belt, just 1 draw and 1 defeat. Had to come from behind against their opponents most recently. Corey Hoyt and Ramel Bino making a difference in their attack there. Tell me about their performance in particular, still holding that second spot.
Yeah, I think they've only been defeated once, and that has been coincidentally by Wales. Wales just displayed a bit too much quality on the night. Last week when they played Deacons, where they came from behind to win 2-1, they actually survived a penalty miss by the captain, Mario Small, when they were able to bounce back and show real quality and real character. To get those 3 points, it's going to be very important for them to stay within touching distance of Wales. I mean, this is football. Anything can happen in football, and there might be some injury woes, there might be suspensions, there might be a case where players are fatigued, and Wales may, loosen the grip a little bit, and you want to be within proximity to cause that kind of discomfort to Wales. And hopefully, when you play them in the second half of the season, you can either get 3 points from them or at least a point. British Hill has been led well by young Corey Hoy. This is his debut season, coming over from Barbados Soccer Academy, and he's been ably assisted by the maturity of Ramel Bino, the St. Kaka, Romario Small. Ray Francis has been another key factor for Bryan Hill, the former youth national. And I think if he continues in this vein, then I'll probably put my neck out there and say that he'll be someone that could potentially make his debut at the senior level if given the opportunity, and if he continue this rich vein of form that he's in.
Well, we know the strikers have been doing their job. We've got plenty of goals. Eyre, looking at the quality of the football, we spoke a lot about the goals scored. What can we say about the dominance of Wales in that aspect? I know that the defences, though, will come into question, and that has been part of the issue for Barbados national side. And you look at what's happening in the Premier League with the amount of goals scored. What does that say about the dominance of Wales?
Well, good evening to all the viewers. What I would say straight up is that defense wins titles, goals win games. But Wales has been extremely dominant in the last few years of football. This reminds me of back in the 70s, early 80s, when Wales were really, really dominant, hard to beat, the glamour team. And a friend of mine called me last week jokingly and said, "Eyre, you need to come back. We need someone to stop Wales." But while that might be hard for me to do, what I would say is that it's going to take something more than just trying to out-football Wales to beat Wales. You're going to have to make it physical. You're going to have to make it personal. You're going to have to get in their heads. You're going to have to take them off their game. It will not be a situation where you come and expect that you're going to out-football Wales and beat them. That certainly didn't seem to be happening. So if I was coaching, it certainly would be a different strategy towards beating Wales.
Definitely. Well, I'm interested in watching you lace up your boots and head outside. I'm looking forward to that era. I mean, I would come personally to watch you get on the pitch.
Well, I don't know about getting on the pitch, but even if I had to come back in a coaching capacity, it would be a different mentality. You would have to prepare your side and your team mentally and physically to play against this Wales side. It would take more than just being able to out-football them, because no team in Barbados has been able to out-football them for the last few years. So which means you have to bring something more to the table to take them off their game and get them out their rhythm.
Well, thanks so much, Eyre. We're going to get straight to Trevor Thorne. Trevor, obviously the other half of the Wales equation, Weymouth Wales women, they were held to a 1-1 draw by Paradise in the latest fixture. Of course, I'll call it a small blemish on their part. But in the grand scheme of things, women's football, we had Barbados versus St. Lucia earlier in the month, and Barbados team performed creditably against the Lucians, dispatched them 5-1 and 6-0 in some friendly action. In the grand scheme of things, overall, holistically, Wales club large and in charge of both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, definitely so. They've been able to do their homework quite early, as I said, pleasant evening to one and all online, and all those watching on CBC TV as well. The recruitment, though, for Wales seems to be where it's all at. Out of season, I can imagine how busy they would be, because by the time you get to actually playing the first match, Wales have already snatched up a good bit of the overall quality. Included in that would be experienced players, plus up-and-coming new youngsters. If you take a look at last night's running against Paradise, you'll see that Wales themselves had to depend on Jonash Janai to get the equaliser. He came out on 68 minutes and scored on 70. A boss move by Carlos Jackman, not taking anything away from Paradise, who got their first goal from Renaldo Trim early in the first half. They seem to have the formula to beat Wales last night, but just couldn't hold on to the result coming into the end of the game. Perhaps it was a bit more of tactical stuff that needed to be done on their bench. As Wales makes a move, you also have to make a move to stop that player from deploying his skills on the game, and that way you get away with the 1-0 victory. But wasn't to be, and of course this competition has 2 legs in it. So yesterday we played the first leg, and they have to meet again, I believe, in the next couple of days to decide on the actual tie itself. So it's a tactical game, the home and away based situation, and therefore the Wales will need to do a bit more homework. What it found as well is that because they didn't have Romario Hayward and they didn't have his replacement in Sharon Hoyt, and those are the orchestrators of Wales's attack from defence into attack, they were a little bit slow out of the blocks, and Paradise were able to gain the momentum down the left-hand side and create the first chance and score. So basically, as I said, it's a tactical game. The coaches are the most important here. Their movements on the pitch as well as on the bench will make a lot of difference, and that goes for both men and ladies football in Barbados.
Of course, Trevor, speaking about the knockouts which have started yesterday and Saturday, looking forward to more action as well. Trevor, thanks. You were on the scene there for that Paradise versus Wales encounter. Renaldo, Dover field not as silky smooth as a turf. The second leg, very interesting between these two as we look at the results.
Yeah, knockout football, especially on outside grounds, and my colleagues that you have here, they're definitely way more experienced than I am when it comes to recognition of knockout football, and also how difficult it is on outside fields. For the patrons, I know most of them prefer to see what we consider sexy football, where there's a lot of technical passing, moving, running with the ball, that kind of stuff. But the terrain makes it very difficult to execute such a tactic. So you're going to see a lot of direct play, a lot of physical play, as Eyre mentioned, players who can commit to the aggression, and it could be a case of more sort of desire than anything else, especially in knockout football, where you just need 1 goal, regardless if you score 1, 2, or 3. You just need to score 1 more goal than the opponent in order to progress. And then what makes things a bit more challenging, or a bit more interesting rather, is that you have 2 Premier League teams in the first round for the very first time in a very, very long time since the competition being held. So Wales versus Paradise, actually I believe 2 of the most decorated teams in cup football. I think Paradise may just have a title more than Wales, but to see one of these teams go so early in the competition, it's probably what's going to attract most of the attention from all the football lovers here.
Yeah, definitely. As we look ahead as well and look at the score lines produced over the weekend, good to have so much football being played, though. We had the Premier League, then we take a break now with the Champions Cup. Talk to me about that era and that moving football into the communities, what that does for our community. I know back in the day, Gall Hill and all the posse would be down at the grounds watching all the games. What does that do for our community?
Well, this is what happens in knockout football. And I will say this now, the hardest game that I ever played for Gall Hill was not against Wales, Everton, Notre Dame. It was against Cognicky Braves in Boscobel and St. Peter. When communities, the whole community comes out. Everybody comes out. The crowd is totally engaged in the game. And the noise is louder than the 10,000 people at the stadium. You would find it hard to believe that there are 1,000 people around that ground, and it is extremely loud and noise, and they're cheering for every tackle. That makes knockout football very, very difficult to play. And I love it in the community because the community gets involved, and then the community ends up following these teams to the stadium or to the gymnasium as we know it.
Yeah, fantastic. We're looking forward to this competition gets a little bit deeper and we get that second leg going. Well, it's time now for us to take another break. Of course, we've got plenty to talk about. When we come back, a top of the table clash in the English Premier League, and the Champions League football has reached the Final Four. We'll take a look at the teams when we come back here on Matchday Live from the 246. This is your monthly edition of Matchday Live from the 246. Yours truly, Damien Best, alongside some football analysts and, of course, some familiar faces with us. We're going to take a look at what has transpired in the English Premier League. City, with 2 games in hand, trail Arsenal by 5 points. 5 more rounds to go. Arsenal need to beat City on Wednesday. Eyre, you've been monitoring all the action in the Premier League. Can Arsenal really beat City at the Etihad?
Well, according to a friend of mine, he called it the empty had for Arsenal. They have not been able to get anything from the Etihad Stadium. So it will be interesting to see. It is an uphill task for Arsenal, but the lead is not over. Games in hand does not count as points. It is, you can count them, but you have to earn them first. So it is an uphill battle for Arsenal. They must come away from that game with a result, because they've dropped 6 points in their last 3 games. That is equivalent to losing 2. They have got to get a result against Man City. The thing is that this plays right into Man City hand. Arsenal comes out on the attack, and City is lethal on the counter attack. With Haaland up front, with his movement and running, this could be a dangerous game for Arsenal, but they have no choice. They have to go for all the marbles now.
Most definitely, they need that win. Renaldo, we've got some teams chasing for that 3rd spot as well. Newcastle look very sharp, dispatching Tottenham over the weekend with disdain. Manchester United under Erik ten Hag seems to have found their feet a little bit. Where do you see this title race for this top 4?
I actually think it's going to finish the way it is in terms of the top 4. With reference to Newcastle, I'm very pleased to have Newcastle, but actually when they started really being deeply involved in football, or initially being involved in football, Newcastle was one of the teams that I admired. Alan Shearer, Clivert had a bout there as well, and Andy Cole actually was he was knocking around there at the time. But I am glad to see Newcastle back. The display against Spurs yesterday was fantastic. I mean, that was a masterpiece in attacking football. When you see players like Isaac and Bruno Guimaraes, he's a class act. It's actually quite exciting to see, with the funds that Newcastle have at their disposal right now, what they're going to do when they get in the Champions League. It is said, or reported rather, that they're actually richer than Man City. And we've seen what money has done for Man City, bringing in some of the best players and best coaches. So imagine what Newcastle will do. Looking down at that Final 4 race, Man U focusing on the FA Cup final at this time. I believe that they will probably rest a couple of players in interval games, and they think that they know that Tottenham, being Tottenham, that they will have that space to play with. So I believe that it will finish in the order that it is now, with Man U finishing 4th and Newcastle 3rd. And Newcastle has built this momentum, and most importantly, they've been very stingy. They've not one of those teams to concede a lot of goals, and they continue to bang the goals. Ten Hag looking to gain another title, because they won the League Cup already. I think that he will focus a bit more on that to get that trophy and to have that bragging rights, so to speak, the Manchester bragging rights. But I agree with Eyre just now. It's actually City's to lose. I believe Pep has been in this position before. His experience will get him over the line. The quality of players he has will get him over the line as well. So I believe that Arsenal at this point, and I know that my Arsenal friends, like the big guy in the studio, you're a producer, he will be clutching all of his pearls as we speak, because it's an unfamiliar territory for Arsenal, and it's a familiar territory for Pep Guardiola and Man City, and I believe their experience will get them over the line.
Well, we see the WhatsApps coming in fast and furious. 228-5562.
Yeah.
Trevor, let's try to answer a couple of them. Arsenal has to beat City if they want a chance to do it. We know that already. If we look at what was as mentioned before by Eyre, though, games in hand don't mean automatically you win. Your thoughts on the title race?
Yeah, well, I think a month ago, I looked in my crystal ball and I said to you guys that the running is the most important part. The running plus the psychology of a young Arsenal team up against a very experienced Man City. It's been between the two of those for a little while now. Liverpool dropped off the pace. Man U can't really get there either, and it was up to Newcastle to launch their own attack. But getting back to the two teams again, as I said before, when you're young and inexperienced and have never really won a title within that particular generation, it's going to be extremely difficult psychologically to keep your eyes focused on the prize all the time, simply because you're more familiar with the jitters than you are with putting your hand on cups with big ears, and therefore I take it this way. Arsenal, check them out now, playing City next, another match against Chelsea. Think about this a little bit. Then they got to hit Newcastle, and then they come over to a Brighton Hove Albion that plays extremely well as well. And I believe down into the season in May, it's a Nottingham Forest, etc. to play. So the next four is probably going to make themselves implode if they don't handle those four matches very well. City, however, look and see. It's this match against Arsenal, and then a game against Fulham, and then it's West Ham, and then it's Leeds. I mean, really, Curtis, I'm saying
a bed of roses. Sorry. A bed of roses, yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
If you was going to put your hand in your back pocket to make a bet, I'm sure you'll know where you want to put the bet right now. Newcastle, however, also in with a nice little shout as well to stay exactly where they are with matches against Everton, Southampton, I believe it is, the same Arsenal, and of course Leeds in the process as well. So you can see the biggest running is with Arsenal and perhaps even the Newcastle team. But for sure, the path is open for Pep Guardiola and Man City with that bomb squad to take the title. The pressure is going to be on Arsenal all the way to come up guns blazing. But we know Man City is one of the best counter-attacking teams in the league and perhaps even in the world. To me,
it's basically City's cup to lose if they want to, because we look at the lineup on the fixtures. I mean, it's pretty much straightforward, that kind of attack. We're speaking about Erling Haaland is not human. I've said so a while back. I've never seen a goal scorer with his build and that, brute force and that ability to put the ball back in the net.
Yeah, and that dynamic movement is unheard of, unseen.
Of course.
Crazy, man.
Well, let's go to another major competition, though. Champions League, down to the last four. I know, Ronaldo, you're a big Italian man, a big Italian fan. AC Milan versus Inter Milan. Where are we at? This is the first Italian clash in some time to be played on the 9th and 10th next month. So tell me, where do these two sides line up in terms of this Champions League semi-final?
To be honest, they're both rivals to my club, Juventus. But from a holistic perspective, I'm very pleased to have Italian teams back within the runnings for Champions League. And obviously this semi-final indicates that there will be an Italian team in the Champions League final. I think the last Italian team to win a major European title would have been Inter Milan under Jose. And it spells well for Italian football, which is on the rise again. When you look at it, you have Inter Milan under Inzaghi, who has been prolific in goal scoring. They both play contrasting formations. Inter Milan goes more with 3-5-2 or something. They will go with a 4-4-2 with Dzeko and Lautaro Martinez at top. Well, you have a 4-3-3 system by AC Milan, which is basically spearheaded by Brahim Diaz in midfield and a couple of others that are across the front that are pretty swift. So I would say this one, it will be one that don't expect a lot of goals. Do not expect a lot of goals. They will cancel each other out. They will be a bit stingy and a bit apprehensive at times. So don't expect
that's Stonewall defense. We're talking about tough defense.
Look for the goals look for the goals in the other semi-final. That's where a lot of the goals, because you got two of the best number 9s coming up against each other in that encounter.
All right, well, let's go to the other encounter. Eyre has been watching Real Madrid. I mean, if Real Madrid get their hands on this trophy once again, I'm starting to think that we might need that Super League after all, Eyre, because this is too straightforward right now. It doesn't make any sense. Talk to me about Real Madrid versus Man City.
I believe that Man City will conquer over the overall tie. Yeah, over the two legs, I believe Man City will come out the winner. It is very hard to repeat after repeating for for this Real Madrid side. They have not played that well, but they have been able to find a way to win. I just have this feeling that football would win this one more than tactics. I just feel Man City would win over the two legs. Last year, these two teams met in the semi-finals as well, and City basically threw it away. I don't think if they get themselves in that position again, that they would throw it away. The pressure is going to be on Man City because if they don't get this one, God knows if they would get another chance at another one. If you notice, City is not spending money like they used to, so you have to bear all these things into mind. That this one might be very well the one for City to win. If not, they might not get one.
I think so myself. Well, it's time for us to take a quick break. Once again, when we come back, it will be our plays of the month. A quick look at that.
Has options. Pumps it into the box, beats 4 Deacon's defender, but no one at home at the end of it. And Zinio Harris still going. Harris with a snapshot off the upright and in. By to our last goal scorer, Henderson delivers an early ball. Calvi chests it down. Calvi with the rebound shot, and he said, Paul, he hadn't been turning up to the races. He's here now.
Bro, wonderful.
Salutes the crowd.
Wonderful.
I told you the goals look spectacular in the Premier League. There are plenty food for thought there. The guys look really sharp up front from the set pieces and in open play. But now it's our special time, though. We're going to link up with Trevor Thorne as well. Trevor, we've got the Masters competition coming up this weekend as well, as we look forward to the second half of the Champions Cup knockout competition. So quickly, we've got half a minute.
Half a minute for the Masters. Okay, well, remember 26th and 29th of May is the International Masters. The registration deadline date is the 1st of May, within a couple of days' time. So local teams, international teams, contact me, get your information in. We know the social media handles at Trevor Thorne Scores at Instagram, of course, and BIMFC 246 as well on Instagram. For the local Masters, we just had a number of results there, of which Wildy wrote here at top of the table, untouchable, with 28 points. Then comes Paradise, Winston Enterprises, Bellam Masters, and Trents. Those are the top 4 that are going to play for the Cup coming into the next couple of days. And into the plate will be Exactly Unified, RX Pro Vintage Masters, Benfica, and Blackrock Masters. Eliminated, Empire Club, Macbeth Haggett Hall, and Carlton Wanderers. There you have it.
At the finish line. Thank you so much, Trevor Thorne. Thanks so much to Eyre Sealy and Renaldo Gilkes. Thanks so much once again. This is Matchday Live from the 246. It's been my pleasure. Next month, of course, more action. We should be able to tell you who's in the Champions League final and all the other stuff. This has been Matchday Live. Thanks so much to our production crew. It's good night.